Okay, can you hear us? Oh,
Want me to throw out some profanity?
no, don't throw out any profanity. Not wait till later. Um, okay, I'm not seeing it.
It's working now. I can see it. It says we're offline, but it's streaming.
Okay, can you hear us?
They're asking for profanity.
No,
Mm.
no, no profanity. Not today. Not yet. Maybe later. Okay. Sparkling says she can hear it, so that's good enough for me. Um, Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Tips and Tricks Live. I'm Findish with Dimension Touring, and I'm here today with Al and I at Wolfsbane. Say hello.
Hi. I'm
Okay.
not swearing.
And today we're going to be talking about water effects. Last time we talked about environmental effects, and water effects kind of tie in with that, but at the same time, I like to keep it as a separate thing, just like rocks and would be their own separate thing, and uh, all under a big landscaping. And what it all merges into is basically morphing an entire environment instead of, morphing one little thing or two. Uh, Before that, there's no news for Dimensions this week. Tacitus was on medical leave, so he just got back to work. Um, I know later on this month there's supposed to be another big building block update, as well as the bottles and stuff. And I think Blazing Octopus is still out on paternity leave as well. And then they're also, still pushing hard on the expansion, getting that ready to go. There's one contest going on right now, Nuve's, uh,
Guarding gazebo.
yep, Garden Gazebo contest, which ends next Saturday at 5 o'clock NA server. So we will not be putting it on a roadshow. She wants to promote it through Dimension Gallery, so that's we're going to respect that wish. So next week on the roadshow we'll be on Deepwood with Farragonics.
Farraclaws.
Yep, Farraclaws. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now I've got most of the pre-made pawns here. This is the go-to right here, the normal um, terrace pond. This is, I think this is the large pool on a pedestal. Yep. I don't have the enormous in here because the enormous is exactly the same. It's just a little bit bigger. The enormous um, pools take terrain paint. The pools on a pedestal take terrain paint. The terrace ponds don't. This is a Dromheim standing pool. Most of the time you'll see this one turned upside down so you can get that cool base. And then I've got the Ember Isle ponds over here, and the terrace pond here, or the Ember Isle terrace spring, or whatever you want to call it. And the sunken pond, and over here the wide terrace pond. I got lucky and found a couple of these on the auction house this morning, so I scooped them up. And you can see faint differences with all of them. So, I mean, depending on what kind of build that you're going to do, it's uh, each one is, I almost never use the Ember Isle ponds because I don't like the clear water. I think I've only used them in one. Which ones do you prefer, Al and I?
I prefer the white terrace pond. I like the color of it, and I like the reflection on it.
Yeah. I like the wide terrace ponds um, because the lip is a lot smaller than it is on the other. But unfortunately, these are a whole lot rarer. You can get these with Uncle Stan's super secret lure, and you might get them out of the shell core of a lockbox, but they're pretty rare. Same thing with these the medium sunken ponds.
I love those. I just wish the rocks around the side weren't so uh, juddy.
Yeah. Now, if you see the tearing here, that's because of this pre-made fountain I've got tucked into this pond. The fountain that's in this pond is it's the one you can get in Margot Palace. It's like seven plat. Let me find it through the item list. The Dromheim circular fountain with pool. And I don't like the fountain by itself, but I like to make other things out of it.
Do you have it in here?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
the one that has the water shooting straight up?
Yep, it's right here.
Oh, right where I was. Okay.
Because, all of these water effects are good to make other kinds of water effects from, whether it's fountains, streams, rivers, waterfalls, what have you. And then I also, don't want to leave out the actual water tile building blocks. I've got one set here for no collision and then one set with collision. I honestly don't like to build water stuff with these blocks, especially since they've been changed. They don't mesh well when you try to line them up. I use them in smaller things like this. This little bathtub here, it's got 2 discs and a rectangle in it.
The really big sink?
Should call it a sink anymore. At any rate, the way ponds work with the actual base dimension, they're always going to reflect the actual sky of the dimension that you use them in. They're not going to reflect the projector that you use if you want to use a projector, except for apparently in here this one is reflecting, it looks like it's reflecting Methosian Cascades, because that doesn't look like the rocks that I've got here. And then over here it's showing like trees and stuff, and there's no trees in here. But I threw together some examples of more natural things in addition to some pretty easy little fountains, because fountains don't have to be really hard or complex. And then of course there are some pre-made fountains. Most of these come out of the Wonders of the Cosmos mystery box, like this one. These are all at default size, so these things are just massive. And I like the water on this one a little bit better than I do on some of the others. It's not quite as jiggly like Jello.
Yeah, I really like the water effect on these fountains.
And then there's those. And this one is supposed to have some jellyfish. I don't think I've seen a single jellyfish ever with this fountain. I'm not sure where it's at, but
It's
not.
the centerpiece. That's the jellyfish.
Then this one here, the Brevanic camel fountain, is a trophy. Comes from I don't even remember which artifact set it comes from.
It's one of the Storm Legion dungeons.
Yeah, Stormbreaker Protocol.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I just had to look it up. Oh, Sailor says it's a stylized jellyfish statue, so I guess I'll take your guys' word for it and say, okay, whatever. But I like this. This one is native to Edgestone Ridge and Stroza Estate. I usually like this one for the underside. It makes a really good backing for things like mirrors, as long as you can hide the actual fountain piece.
Oh, look at that. All fancy.
This is the elaborate Dromheim fountain. You'll see some of these occasionally in affinity boxes. And then this is the Methosian fountain, which is an Uncle Stan's lure item, or as a rare drop from like the Shalcorva Dimension Key box. So, and then as far as like other water effects, you've got, this is the pouring water effect. For a long time, before Dreamweaving came around, this is what we had to use to create any kind of water thing. Um, I actually like these. They scale pretty well. This is max size. Here's the smallest size. Which fountain is the one that shoots up straight again? It is the
Drumheim circular.
Dromheim circular fountain with pool. Here, we'll just pull that out.
And one thing I like about this pouring water effect, probably my favorite thing, is the fact that no matter what angle you view it from, it looks good. It doesn't get all wonky and disappear like some of the other water effects.
Like the waterfall curtain.
Yeah.
And of course, as you can see, fountains don't have to be hard. This is a queen chess piece with just some pouring water effects stuffed into these arches, pretty much on every 90-degree angle. So there was one at default, one at 180, one at plus 90, one at minus 90, to make just a little fountain. And I didn't put any bases or anything in there, you know, to make that I would normally do in an actual build. Probably because I was being lazy. It has really been a rough week at work. I'm sorry. So there was not a lot of posting going on. There was not a lot of anything going on. A whole lot of sitting and staring at my computer. Not
And I'm pretty much
accomplishing.
good for nothing, so I didn't help out with any of it.
I did not say that. And then this little rose. Yeah. Tell me about it, Prickly. She says we need to retire. These are just Ascendant gravestones. They come from minions. This is like 12 of them, and then there's a little pole down there to kind of connect these together. And then all you do is, you know, you can use custom pivot to spin them out, or you can just, I didn't. But it's a really item-friendly kind of fountain design. And then this one I used quite a bit. And these are actually really common to see out when you're touring. It's basically the statue from Blue Tier Loyalty, the large shrine for large icons, and any kind of urn. You know, you can set it on an angle and then kind of line up the pouring water in with it. Contrary to popular belief, I do not do everything with an add-on. I actually do stuff like this by hand because it's faster and easier that way. Just when it comes to making things like this. Now I might turn over rocks and stuff with it to make sure it's one. Yep, the mermaid statues from Dreamweaving also work. The ones that the little wall statue where their hands are over their head, those also work. With this thing right here, these are Brigvain gravestone creatures spun out, and they make this really neat looking little vase thing. And then you can take like a light or something and put it on top, or even, you know, you could put a sphere up there or whatever, and then put some pouring waters off of it, and it'll, you know, make a little fountain that way.
Is that your idea of a light up there?
I
Your
cleaned
bulb's
out.
burnt out.
If you look at my bags from the last time we did this, they are cleaned. Because I'm actually not in the middle of a build right now, so I do have some bag space. And of course, there's household uses for water effects. Yes, Prickly, that's cleaned. Compared to in the middle of a build when there's like no spots left and you're shifting stuff back and forth to the bank to get something that you need. Yes, that's cleaned. I honestly don't like to use for household items, just as my personal thing. I don't like to use water effects um, most of the time, because in your real house, do you go away leaving the shower running? You know, if you don't go off leaving the real shower running, then I don't know why you would do it in a Dimension house. Yeah, that's all right. Your dog was being a pretty good co-host. So I will do something like this because this hides that this thing doesn't have an underside. And then it lets me, if I need to stick these flower arrangements up. Okay, so for the shower head, you know, Diva talks a lot about how she likes her gravy boats, right? I'm a sucker for vegetable pots.
Those are my favorite too.
The stew pots. Uh, Mira wants to know how I made this tub. Well, it took a lot of tries, and it involved a lot of F words. And a lot um, I basically did a custom pivot for these, and then I separated the two ends to get this curve, and then taking planks of the same size and lining them up here to make the walls manually. I normally would put I put a lot of stuff up on Dimension Addicts. Yeah, yeah, Sparkling. This tub is with the feet and the water tiles. This tub is 86 items.
When are you
So,
gonna finish the bottom?
I'm not.
Just messing with you.
I'm not, because I actually used water in this one. But I put a lot of stuff up on DA. This tub you'll never see on DA because it took me, it took a long time to work up, because I've been wanting a clawfoot bathtub for a long time in Dimension, and when I'm sure I could have worked it out to be a little bit more budget friendly, but it is what it is. So
I don't know. You can fit a lot of dishes in there.
you call it a sink one more time, I'm going to mute you. Now for fixtures, for fixtures, I like things like these S-curve connectors. I don't like the ones with the flow. What do I use for the claws? These claw feet are the
The little flower arrangement thingamajigs.
yep, they're flower arrangements. I wanted to try them right side up, but there's too much green crap coming off of it, and they poked up too far. The 32 gold ones will work too, but I had excess of these, so this is what I used when I made it. Now as far as this goes, there's an S-curve connector, a plate of lentils, and I use the lentil plates because I mean they're dirty, and on the underside like this, no one's really going to notice. And for some things, the lentil plate shape is a lot better than the actual dinner plate shape is. But then, like, Swords. Swords are some of my go-to handle thingies, or things to make handles from. And you can never go wrong with an orange corked jug. And then all the connectors on here also were vegetable stew pots. And then there's just some metal poles tying it all together. I try not to spend too many items on things like fixtures, and I certainly don't want to spend a lot of money on things like fixtures because I don't like doing bathrooms anyways. So, and of course the cheapest fixture right here is one item, and that's this is just a copper teapot. Prickly's yelling at me again. Yeah.
You've been yelling at me all morning. I'm not going to defend your honor.
Huh. And then these are just normal, like this is the crafted, the alabaster amphorae. And then these, I love these things too. This is one of my favorite vases, the big Brevan urn. And you can usually find some of this stuff really cheap too. What? Did you?
He's a dirty fishy.
Some people's kids. So we kind of got sidetracked there with household morphine. Tassiara says she likes using the Brevane jars for sinks. Yeah, I like all the Brevane stuff. All the except for one. I don't like the Brevane vase because of the little bull horns that are coming off of it. I mean, the underside comes in handy for things like stove burners. Okay, so I mentioned earlier about water and the reflections. So if I switch out and go from the default sky in here to this is Starry Night, you see what I still have on pretty much every one of these is still the normal sky. They, at one point in time, I don't know, they've done a lot of changes to pond reflections over the course of time. They used to just be, they would actually reflect the sky. And then like some of them, like Fetid Plains, used to reflect a blue sky like this one. And I actually really like that, but now it reflects the sky that it is. And then of course these don't have much of the Emperor Isle ones and the Dromheim pools don't have much of a reflection at all. So as far as like water, like actual water features, whatever you want to use is going to depend on the item limit and whatever theme that you're after. I'm not going to tell somebody, this is how you should make this, because everybody's different.
But you have an idea of how to make it now, and then you can just kind of tweak it to
Yeah.
your personal style.
I'm talking about how to make stuff, but I'm not going to tell somebody what to make or say that something that they want to make is right or wrong. The only thing, I am going to get sidetracked on a little rant here.
Oh boy.
We got a couple of waterfalls put up here, and one of these is something I see a lot when I go out touring, and that's the rock with the waterfall curtain coming off of it. And that, I hate talk when I post sometimes, I talk about my pet peeves, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows like broken stairs are my hugest pet peeve. stairs I get caught on and snagged on. Uh, this right here, the waterfall coming off of a random rock without anything behind it or around it. I mean, to me, there's not too many other things that are more immersion breaking in a dimension than that. Because no matter, sometimes the laws of physics are still going to apply, and that water would have had to come from somewhere.
Maybe it's just magic.
Well, you
I'm
know
kidding.
what though?
Kill me.
This one here has water coming off of a rock. But once you fill it in and you put like the rest of the backing on it and then you put some trees around it, there's the illusion there that it has a source.
So that's the key. There has to be a source point for the water.
Well, I've done this. I've even done this too. So this is kind of like kettle calling here. You know, the pot calling the kettle black by complaining about the random waterfall coming off of a rock. But I've actually been tearing some of those down and replacing them with something a little bit more um, realistic in a sense, or aesthetically pleasing, or however you want to phrase it.
Less rage inducing?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to hop on a table here. And we're going to look at this waterfall. Now, to make a waterfall, you can use pretty much any kind of rock that you want. I think the bigger rocks work better. These are all like Ember Isle, the Ember Isle boulders, or the Scarwood Reach boulders, and then the Scarwood Reach pointed boulders. And I like these. I like the Scarwood Reach boulders because they're cheap for one. You can pick them up. I picked up some off the auction house today for I think $2 a piece, maybe. Usually you can find them for silver. Same thing with the Ember Isle angular boulders, and then the Etched Scarwood boulders.
You won't find them that cheap anymore.
I found some this morning for a couple gold a piece. Because I like to skim the auction house for things like that. Just because they are cheap. And the Etched Scarwood and the Ember Isle angular they're identical. They're pretty much the same rock. If you turn a waterfall upside down, does it flow upward? Yes. Or is the direction of the water fixed no matter what direction? No, it is. Here, let me jump down. Yes, if I take this and I turn it upside down, it will go up. So, and the thing is, it's like, this is the massive waterfall curtain, and it's just handy for some situations. When you're making running water, for sometimes, you can use it however you want to. I like to use it sometimes for running water, especially if I need to make a really big long run. The only thing about all the waterfall curtains is, like, from certain angles, you can't see it as well, and you don't notice it so much with the massive curtain, but you will with the normal. But these are just, yeah, it looks like sheets of water on. These are just some of those Scarwood and Ember Isle rocks, turned this way and that way to make it look like the water that's coming down came from somewhere. Yeah, Sparkling says, it looks like sheets of water and it doesn't fill in like a river would from the side sometimes. Yeah, that's one of the challenges when you're trying to make a running water, because we have no running water items specifically. So if you are wanting to make some kind of running water, you're going to have to morph it, and it's item intensive. It's real item intensive. So I started, I got like just a little bitty example of it here. And on these, I used the normal waterfall curtains. And I don't have them positioned, I don't have the waterfall curtains positioned right because I don't have a lot of leeway between the water surface and these rocks. So the rock is edging out the waterfall. And then I didn't do a very good job of this merge here. Now, normally when I would if I would make something like this, uh, like a stream or whatever, I'm going to edge it with rocks and I'm going to edge it with a bunch of plants so that it'll kind of obscure some of the stuff that you normally wouldn't see or that you would see in a situation like this. This is just to show like some of the framing that goes around it.
And by edge, you mean kind of fill in where the sides of these mossy boulders are?
Yeah, uh, yeah, and normally if I'm making this something like a stream, I'm going to use a dimension that has some kind of existing landscape already there so that you can get like a natural contour. With the Ashura Rocks tanking paint, this seems more accessible to item count. Yes and no. Um, yeah, you can if you want to scale them down that small. I still like the mossy, I like mossy boulders and mossy outcroppings if I'm going to shape landscape like this. Um, and then I'll put an Ashura mountainside to line the water so that when somebody jumps in, they're not looking at yucky pond bottom. Uh, I mean, you can be real. You can get really intense on the item limit here. I think in one of the Black Gardens I did, I used almost 400 items just making like the river that runs around it. Between ponds and rocks and waterfall curtains and lining the ponds and then the rocks and stuff that are around on the banks of the river that I made. Um, and of course you don't have to use waterfall curtains. Down here I've got drip lines creating the actual water running.
Just to give it that illusion of movement.
Yeah. And though the big downside with the drip lines is you can really see here where I had to add the second one.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Why did I have to add the second one?
Yes.
Because the water on the drip lines doesn't have as long a flow as the curtain.
Okay.
They're yellowy in color depending on the light. I like the way drip lines catch the light in some instances. I don't like them in things like running water.
Now you've got all these little splashes over here.
Yep. See? I'm never gonna fire you because you remind me about things like that. And when you're talking about making running water like ponds and streams and stuff, you're always going to have like a juncture line. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. I'm going to call it crap.
And the juncture is where the terrace ponds meet?
Yes.
Okay. Now, why do you use the terrace ponds as opposed to, for example, the new water tiles we have?
Just personal preference. It's honestly less item. These ponds are. I tried to, when I made the last river in my black garden, I tried at the start to use water rectangles. It for one terrace pond, it would take 3 rectangles. So that, you know, that was just too much. When you still have to do the whole rest of the bill on top of that.
Could you see any benefits to using the new tiles for somebody who isn't so concerned about their item count?
Um, yes. If you want to use the water tiles, you don't have to worry about this point right here where these ponds overlap. You wouldn't have all this stuff sticking out on the sides that you're going to have to hide. So
Because
especially,
doesn't that add to item count? I mean, if you've got to compensate for the edges, wouldn't that kind of add your item count
yeah, but
passively?
you can put in, like, if you just have wow, I had a total brain fart.
Was that a good question? Tell me that was a really good question. Shut up, Lynn. Just shut up.
Um, well, I mean, it boils down to like personal preference, the theme that you want to do. Um, a blue sky if it's at night. Honestly, a lot of times I like that contrast, and I'll keep the blue water, even if it's a nighttime build. Um, or a cloudy build. Or yeah. This is one of my favorite projectors, the Air Sky, because it'll tone down things a lot, but it's still blue. Um, you don't see too many of those. Excuse me. Don't see too many of the planar projectors out in force anymore.
Because the clouds are freaky.
Whatever.
Did you like that? I didn't use any profanity on that.
Yeah.
I hesitated, but okay. So back to your juncture.
Okay. So for these points where you got your terrace ponds intersecting, that's also why I have this one here angled up, to make it not as it's not as much of a pain to make this make sense. If that made any sense. Did that make sense?
Not to me, but I'm a little derpy, so
Because if this one back here is flat and this one here is flat, then it loses a lot of context. Let's just
well, you're kind of keeping it in line parallel with your rocks because you're going up at an angle.
well that and so now say I want to make this a channel that just runs straight through. You've got these rocks here. It does make the juncture a little less pronounced, and it makes it make more sense as water is flowing downhill or just flowing, and then it doesn't get as caught in all of these, um, because you don't want to like totally uh, block this off here to where water in theory
Yeah,
could not get through.
looks like a dam instead of.
Yeah. If there was a family of beavers here instead of just, the burbling stream. I mean, making running water is it's a pain in the butt, to be honest. I don't know how to, because I'll normally if I'm going to make something like this, I'm going to lay the ponds out first, and then I'm going to set the channel, which would be the rocks, my channel width. All of the any kind of running water that you make is going to look better if it's narrower. I mean,
So you're gonna wanna. Is that a tip there? You want to lay out your rocks and landscaping kind of first before you throw the water in?
no, I put the water in first,
Oh shit! Never mind.
because once you start laying the rocks, you'll see if something doesn't flow right. Because if you look at real, here we go again with my Google Images and Pinterest, I look at a lot of pictures of real waterways and they don't flow perfectly straight. Like they might flow perfectly straight for a short distance, but it's not going to be through, if you look even at a map, you'll see any kind of waterway does not go perfectly straight. And the tendency when you're using some rocks, because it's easier to just make it perfectly straight. And then however you want to end it. And then here is just like a little small, yes, we're a family show. There is no cursing.
Yes, massa.
No, don't say that. Um,
Yes, mistress.
okay, that's all right. Oh my god.
I just choked.
Yep. Moving on. Yep, Google Images like crazy when building. Yes. Look at images for everything. Look at images for waterfalls, images for uh, lakes, rivers, little streams, covered bridges, buildings, houses, uh, for pretty much everything.
So, what is the context you would use this area down here for? Because to me, if not knowing what your motive is here, it looks a lot like that sandy tower over there with water just flowing out of nowhere.
Right, well, that's all this one right here is because I don't have any context around it. Like, normally, if I was to use this in an actual build, I might say, um, put some kind of rock fall behind it. Just real quick, like, see what we can do here. This is why I have all these rocks in my bags.
Told you I was gonna make you build stuff on this train.
Actually, I want to turn that one upside down. I want to make sure it is actually upside down.
Magnificent.
There we go. Now that's... You want it to be not real big. So there would, in theory, my context would be that there's like... The water's coming from somewhere, and then it's hitting this. And then flowing down from here, but it would not be like some huge, massive amount of, another sheet of water. Like the waterfall in Dormant Core would not be coming off of these rocks. And these rocks do take terrain paint also. These are Duskin layered boulders.
So you could throw some of that new mossy terrain paint on top of them and they blend really well into your boulders.
Yep.
Outstanding.
So if you wanted like just some little small area, then you could do that, or because like something like, well, this one actually, the big one back here, I actually copied this one from a build that's active. I just copied it and rebuilt the bare bones frame here. I mean, this piece right here would form like a corner for an entire build. And all this stuff would go in before even putting in a building or a house or whatever I was building at that moment. I mean, well, here lately, all I've been building is houses because I've been tearing down my old ones and making use of those awesome new building blocks. So we weren't supposed to spend a whole lot of time on running water, were we? I think you specifically told me not to spend a lot of time on running water.
But you integrated it into the waterfall. I think you did a good job.
We're like, talk about sinks, bathtubs.
People like morphing stuff, okay?
Yeah, I honestly I did not expect to get into too much small item morphing, so I didn't put up a whole lot of. Well, I recycle most stuff too. You wanted running water. Prickly said she wanted running water, so there. Um, so I mean, it all boils down to, as far as like water effects go, it's just like with anything else. You have to do it. You have to practice it. There's no one way to do things. There's no, not even a real right way to do something. I mean, I talk about my pet peeves with the waterfall coming off of a rock. Um, but if that, hey, you know what? If that's what trips your trigger, um, by all means, I'm not paying for your dimension, so you got to build it to please you. Yeah, Polly, that's a bathtub.
I logged in like literally 10 minutes after waking up, came in here, was checking out everything she laid out, and I made a comment. I walked over, I was like, oh, yeah, by your sink over here. And she literally flipped shit on me. Like, it is not a sink, it is a clawfoot bathtub. So now it's a sink forever.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Sila. It's a fishy sink.
That's it. You're fired.
All right, I'm going back to bed.
No,
See
you're
y'all.
not. You're rehired.
Ah, damn it.
Um. So, yeah, I guess I can't really think of too much else to say about water effects.
You did really well. You were very efficient, and I didn't even have to send you tells.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. We have any questions? Because I
Thanks,
don't even know what to say.
And just as a reminder, it looks like nobody has too many questions. Um, just as a reminder, I'm always game for specific topics. Um, the Queen's piece, it's from Puzzle Reward from, I want to say, Ardent Domain. I don't know. I bought it off the auction house. Kit asked, "Did they have plans to fix the water tiles? Have you heard?" Blazing Octopus posted on the forums that he is working. His intent is to work out some kind of compromise, because there are people that really, really like this, and then there are other people that really, really don't like this. I am definitely in the last half.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Prickly asked, once you get it, can you keep getting it? I don't think so. I think it's a one-off thing. They used to be pretty cheap on the auction house during Storm Legion. That's when I've acquired most of mine, because you could get this one and the night piece. Yeah.
I think I'm making your dreams come true, Fiendish. I'm swimming with the fishy.
Ugh. But as I was saying, we're always game for topics. If you want something specific, talked about, then by all means, bring it up to either me or Allie. Um, because I'm all about. I don't want to be up here wasting anybody's time, including ours. So, wow. Looks like we're gonna get a. Looks like we got an early day today.
Mm-mm, girl, you got 7 minutes. You better fill the time.
There's. I don't even know what to say.
That's what you get for being so efficient.
Hmm. Lots of questions in chat about custom pivot. Yes. Um, that. Well, I was looking at that one for next time. I was bouncing between custom pivot and add-on or lighting next time. Um, I talked to somebody one-on-one about some custom pivot things. Fill it by zooming in on the bathtub. Well, there's a naked Bommy in it right now, but okay.
There's a piranha too, girl.
Yeah. What'd you do to my little water blocks here?
Don't you worry about it.
Kula says good because I really want to see the pivot. So, yeah. So yeah, this was something I think it was 70. It's 78 limestone planks.
How do you even get that many limestone planks? Those things are rare.
Uh huh.
Oh, you know a guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Rift Store. That's the guy I know.
You dirty cheater.
Vote for the pivot for the next show. Okay. Um, we can definitely touch on custom
Ugh.
pivot.
Pivot? Ugh, that's gonna be a Lynn free show.
No, it's not.
That's above my pay grade.
No, it's not. I showed you how to do it. Yeah, and I do have a lot of limestone stored. Like I said, I check the auction house. I try to do a page-by-page search at the auction house once a week. Looking for deals. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. I don't really check it too often outside of that. But once a week I like to do a page-by-page search.
You did good. Only 4 minutes left. I'll let you go.
Okay, thanks. But yeah, next time we'll okay. So since we've had it, is rain also considered a water effect?
Oh, damn, that's a really good question. I should have been on that.
Someone's asking today if precipitator fluorifier work with weather blockers. I know the precipitator does. The precipitator does work with weather blockers, because that's what I used to have in a couple of my builds, was the rainy sky with weather blockers inside the building. The fluorifier was bugged at one time to where the weather blockers weren't working. I don't know if that's been fixed or not.
Yeah, I know. I tried using that for the Christmas contest last December. I had wanted snow actually just in a specific area of the dimension and everything else snow free. And no matter how many of those weather blockers I put down, I just had snow everywhere.
Yeah. So rain could be considered a water effect, but usually personally I consider it more of an environmental effect. But yeah, I don't know if they have fixed the fluorifier bug or not, because it was not working with weather blockers, but the precipitator does.
Check on that.
Yeah. Well, and the weather blockers are kind of funky anyways, because you have to be inside the weather blocker for it to take effect. You would have The way they even explained it on the forums when they were talking about it was weird because they were like you would have to be in it looking out to where you would only not see the snow, but when you do that it also blocks it from any kind of field of view. Like if you go into a house that's got weather blockers in it, and then you know, you can't see it snowing outside the windows. Yeah. I have no idea if that made any sense at all or not. It didn't
I
to me.
wasn't paying attention, so I
Oh,
can't tell you.
wow.
I was
Well,
talking in chat.
at least you're honest. Right, Prickly, you cannot see it snowing outside the windows if you're inside a weather blocker. Here we go. I'm gonna...
Oh, she getting serious.
No, just gonna do just this real quick one. 'Cause
1
it's
minute.
I think it's the only one I have active now that's still in a snowy area.
Oh, you gonna leave me
Yep.
naked and alone with my fish?
Yes.
Mmm.
Now, even in here, yeah, you can't see the snow or anything out there. Now, even in here, this one was acting up a while back to where when I came outside, the snow was still gone. But I am using an air projector in here too. Okay, so that took us... yeah, that took us right to 12 o'clock. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Snow line out like the drip line, yeah, that would be nice. Again, join us next week. We'll be looking at Ferragonics at Deepwoods Dimensions. And I guess next tips and tricks, we'll be talking about custom pivot. Oh. Hey, do you got Nightbot up?
Me? No.
Huh?
I don't have any credits left.
I do.
Oh.
So you better hurry up.
Oh, you're gonna make me do it? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, hold on. It says the site can't be reached. I'm not even kidding. Oh, never mind. Here it is. Myrrh.
Some people's kids. You even got the easy job. What I'm giving away today, I'm going to give away 5 Corvin bags.
Oh, damn. Let me log into my second account real quick.
That's the one with the Plain Touch Wild stuff in it. I heard a rumor that those bags are going to be going away before too long. The stuff that's specific to those bags should be getting distributed in other ways. So what remains to be seen how those items will be distributed. Same thing with Wonders of the Cosmos and the Shell Corva box.
All right, guys, type something random in chat so that I can get you entered in this giveaway.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. You can type a period or Lynn Rocks, whatever.
Huh.
Or message deleted. That's cool, too. I have 9 users entered. 10 users.
Okay.
I don't know how many are in the channel.
I don't either.
11. Oh, they're still going.
Yep. Sparkland is asking about the Dromheim bench. I believe they are looking at a new way to distribute that. Same thing with, like the jellyfish were also specific to the Wonders of the Cosmos bag. Onir tapestries. All that. So, okay, roll it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Look at this chick got some hacks. She wins every stream.
Tassiera, and
I
you're
meant
on
congratulations.
Lathis, right? You're on Lathis, right, Tassiera? Yes.
Are you giving 5 to one person or 5 away?
5 to 1 person.
Holy
Yep.
shnikes.
Yes. And that's your user. Yeah, that's your username. Okay. So I'll get those gifted to you as soon as we turn this off. So thanks again to everyone that tuned in today. Remember, you can hit me up on Baradera or what you call it on Greybrier or Baradera or Findish at Zaviel. I'm happy to talk dimensions at any time. So until next week, thank you very much and happy building. You going to say
Can I swear
goodbye?
now? Oh.